Tech Heads back again. Today's ep is all about Node.js and how you can get started with it. And of course, we can't talk about Node.js without also covering NPM and Express.js. We also just catch up because it's been so long since we've done one of these. Anyways, welcome to the show. This is Tech Heads.
4, 3, 2, 1. So, here we go.
How you all feel tonight?
Yeah, it's been like
I missed that.
what, like more than a month or something?
I know, it's been at least because I moved. I think we didn't record one like the week before I moved. I moved on June 26th, and today is the 17th, 18th. Damn.
Yeah, gotcha.
Wow.
So I hope that the move went well.
It was something, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It was of course the hottest day in Portland history.
Gosh.
The day we moved.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And we moved, at the hottest time of the day, of course. 1 to 4.
Oof.
So that was really fun. It was like, I think 115. So it's just,
Oh my God.
it was bad for sure. But it was really cool because we were moving into a place, that has AC. So anytime we would get into the room, just cool off and be like, wow, this is our life now. We have AC. This is crazy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, I think that's why I asked you the other day, because I was seeing some articles on my phone, about how it had been so bad up there.
Yeah.
With like a lot of people that died, and I was like, geez,
Mhm.
that must be brutal then, with
Yeah.
is it just the heat, or is it like really humid too?
No, there's no humidity really.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just straight up heat. And
Gotcha.
part of the complication with it too is the fact that a lot of apartments don't have AC.
Yeah.
So people just like boil. And then
Yeah,
lots
exactly.
of businesses don't have AC either.
Oh, wow.
So like restaurants and stuff, you can't even escape to a restaurant sometimes. Like there are restaurants that have it.
Yeah.
When it's
Oh,
fun
yeah. Now
it's
that's,
like 80, 75, 80 right now. Perfectly
gosh.
sunny. It's been, ever since the heat wave, it's been fantastic. So
yeah.
super happy.
Oh, jeez.
What about over there? It's probably hot as balls.
Yeah, and humid. So yeah, it's been pretty hot. I mean, I'm lucky that from Wednesday to Friday I work from home, so I don't have to deal with like the morning heat and the afternoon, driving back. But yeah, we definitely, see the difference in the electric bill over the past few months, because like I constantly hear like the AC going, like it turns on every like half hour to hour, to keep the house at a reasonable temperature. It's pretty comfortable in here, obviously, but as soon as you step out, like it's 20 degrees, 25 degrees higher than in the apartment. And yeah, so yesterday we went car shopping for Sam. We were out like pretty much the whole day because we went to a few dealerships across town, and she's actually out now because she was texting a salesperson from a different one because she's looking at a Honda Civic.
Mm.
And she's out there looking now, but I was like, yeah, no, I'm staying, first of all, because I want to record the podcast, and it's also way too hot yesterday. Like today when I woke up, I was exhausted just because of like the driving that we did yesterday. It was like a trip. But yeah, it's been really hot. I can't wait to move to our new place. We're going to be moving in 6 weeks now, so it's kind of crazy to me because I remember it was so far-fetched. We were like, oh, September, but yeah, that's 6 weeks from now. So
That's so crazy.
yeah,
Wow. And
I'm excited.
It's gonna be a really nice place.
Yeah. So everything is all good. We went there to look at like the a similar unit to what we're gonna get. But I think we're gonna try and stop by because I want to get some measurements, for ideas like that I'm gonna make for like the office. I need to get like some storage stuff. But obviously we're only gonna buy that stuff after we move. So
Oh, of course. Yeah, definitely wait.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise we just have to carry stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we had a blueprint before, so we kind of went off of that, but then in previous experience, sometimes the blueprint, the bless you,
Bless
the
you.
blueprint is a little wrong. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's probably best if you just go there in person and measure things.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, the amenities all looked really nice. They're finally, closer to being done.
Mm-hmm.
So, we won't like be paying like an amenity fee without having access to it because that's what happened to some people that moved in early on because they finished like building some of that stuff just 3 weeks ago, I think.
Oh
So,
right, yeah, you have a new building.
right. Yeah. So like the pool area is done, the gym, like the clubhouse, like those are the things in like the dog park. I think they're still working on, but Augie still has room to like roam. So, things that we want to make sure that we take advantage of because the rent prices down here are insane. It's insane. You have no clue. I've seen a couple of people on the Orlando subreddit saying that like some of their like rents doubled from like last year to this year. And We would definitely save if we stayed here where we're at now, but the traffic here is getting so bad and they're about to start construction to expand the exit because it's just way too many people and just like two lanes, one in, one out, so it's not sustainable anymore. But yeah, like the housing market here is super competitive because a lot of people moving in from out of state, and buying houses. So like as a local, it's even worse because if you're competing with like, California or like New York money and they're paying cash, you're not going to get it. The
Yeah.
houses are all going for over asking. So, but yeah, rent is super high. But I mean, we locked in our rate, which is pretty reasonable, like several months ago, because the same apartment right now is going for like $100 more a month or something like that. So we're saving there. Yeah. But yeah, it's like a two-bedroom apartment for about 2K anywhere you go in the city.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's basically almost Portland prices. Hey, stop.
yeah, Orlando is getting pretty up there. I can't wait, finish school, and then probably try and get another job to keep up with all this because you're like, oh yeah, you make more money, but then the government takes more money out of you too. So it's like it just evens out.
Yep. Hey, I have a really nice setup with my contracting gig, but it might be worth looking into. Like if you get some side stuff going, I don't know. I would find it more fun if I was doing maybe more riveting work, but it's still really nice for sure because
Yeah, no,
just
absolutely.
even though I'm working a little more, I'm still like less stressed.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always good to. I think you kind of got me into the mindset of a side gig,
Oh
sort.
no, yeah, I'm 100% for it. Just because if because you have like the right skill set that you really can make as much money as you want. Like you just have to put in the time. So I like once I finish school, I am all for it because I know that I'm gonna be bored and I don't want to go back to school. So I'm gonna have to fill up my time with something else, which ideally is gonna be making money. And Yeah, because I took a quick like glance at some master's programs, but I'm not there yet. I really don't want to commit to that. I'll give myself next year to think about it, but if I end up finding something else to fill out my time that that makes me like a good amount of money, I probably will just stick to what I know and just focus on working without, really doing anything else. Maybe getting a certificate down the road or, like, or a license of some sort, but not really going back to school full time. This degree really has taken a toll on me. So I just can't wait to put it behind me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's somebody on my team who's also back in school for computer science, and
Mhm.
I don't really talk to her too much because she's in the UK. But from what I can see,
Gotcha.
it looks like it's you know doing a
Yeah,
number
it's
on her
stressful.
too, because she'll be um, I don't know, like I don't remember I think it's 8 hour difference.
Oh, wow.
I think it's an 8 hour time difference. Yeah, because like when I log on, those team members log off.
Yeah.
But sometimes like I'll just leave a message for her so she can open it in the morning or whatever
Hmm.
about something we worked on or whatever, and
Yeah.
she'll like respond. I'm like, "What time is it there? Are you still up?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm just grinding." I'm like, "God, that
Oh,
sucks."
damn. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, but other work has been super solid for me. I'm sorry you're going through so much
No, no,
work
don't be.
overload, but
I can totally handle it. I mean, I really, it's not even like, complaining because I'll be complaining if I couldn't like handle it. And I know that I can handle even more than what I'm doing right now, but I also don't want to like get to a stage where I burn out right before I finish my degree because I want to make sure I have, like the energy at the end of this next semester because of classes I'll be taking, and also to come up with like ideas to start doing in the spring, like what am I going to do? Like I don't want to just work, and I know that my company can offer me plenty of work if I go up to my boss, but I don't want to just work. I want to do things for myself as well.
mhm.
So because I'm salaried, so obviously if I ask for more work, they're gonna give me work, but they're not necessarily gonna pay me more. So I'm not interested in that.
Oh,
But
stop like as soon as you've hit that time limit, just
40-hour a week, yeah,
yeah,
I'm
don't
fine with
even.
that. What?
All my notes just deleted themselves. So I have to undo it. Uh, Bluetooth keyboards, man, they just like
Mm.
I cannot make this up. Everything just started going the
Oh no.
backspace. I was like, whoa, no. Oh my god, that's funny. Okay.
Thank
20.
God for Control Z or Command
Oh
Z,
my
whatever.
goodness, I know. I mean, it's not it was deleting things I really don't need notes on, but I just like to make super sure that I'm on schedule and whatnot. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, speaking of show notes, I would like to welcome everybody back to the show.
Welcome everyone. It's been
Tech
a
Head's
nice
back once
break.
again. It's been way too
Yeah.
long, and I'm like I don't even know how to like talk anymore. It's been so long. But yeah, I'm stoked to be back. I hope Anna is also stoked to be back. It seemed like she was really excited to do this episode. So we're
Yeah,
back,
absolutely.
and I think it was I don't know. We didn't really talk about it too much, but I think Anna would agree with me in saying that just kind of needed a break. We were like kind of grinding episodes. There was like a lot of big things happening, like me moving and like Anna's school getting harder and harder as we speak, and
Yeah.
just packing is a lot, and dog, all these stupid lame excuses. But we'd rather hold off on producing episodes that are probably gonna be mediocre for rushing them.
Mm-hmm,
And
exactly.
we're back. We have more time. We can produce like content heavy, solid episodes. I think at this point, I'm
Right.
comfortable with my schedule. I think I'm pretty set right now. So I'd like to officially welcome everybody back. Season two.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I was gonna, say. This is probably, we were, I think, due a creative break, and also, life got a little bit in the way. But it's also summertime, so everybody, I think,
Yeah,
has more of a like a social, life, or like that social aspect to things over
for
the
sure.
summer, and yeah, so it's nice to take a break and reassess, and then we
Yeah,
can,
we had people visiting too, so I was like, I don't want to
right.
be like, hey guys, like I have this podcast I do, you wouldn't understand, but I got to record it and like, just go off and do your own thing in a city you've never
Yeah.
been to. So, rather not do that. So, shout out Ben. Had fun, dude. And thanks for hanging. I don't know if you even listened to the show, but anyway. Oh, actually, I'm gonna shout out his rug Instagram because he had just started hand making rugs.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll put it in the show notes, but I think it's tough. I'm gonna screw it up. Oh, tufted trash. So like, I think the terminology tuft has like something to do with like making rugs.
Oh, okay.
So he started hand making rugs. Here, I'll show you, Anna. This is like one that he just did. It's like
Oh, wow.
probably like, oh, okay, he put it 3 by 3.
Yeah.
I guess
That's
he could have said
awesome.
3 foot diameter, but you know. Anyway, yeah, they're super sick. He does it all by hand. He just started, and they already look awesome. He's doing a pop up.
Ooh.
If you live in Gainesville,
Oh, wow,
um,
nice.
yeah, he goes to UF too, so he's in
Hey.
Gainesville. He's doing a pop up soon with a couple rugs that he's been working on, and then his friend David is also doing the pop up with him. But he makes T-shirts and whatnot. Shout out
Mhm.
99. So if you're in the Gville area, go check it out. I think it is coming up in the next couple of weeks. Let me just plug that real. You know what? I'll put it in the notes. I'm not going to bother. I'll put it in the notes. Feel free to check it out if you're a little gator in the swamp
Yeah,
area.
exactly. Speaking of gators, I don't know if you heard, but we had like a hurricane come through here as well, like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I did hear. Did it actually happen? I never
Well,
heard.
so that's why I brought up, Gators, like, Gainesville, because here in Orlando, it was totally fine. I mean,
Hmm.
we get the regular rain every day anyways, but it looks like it went through Gainesville. And like, so my classes for the day were canceled, but from what I heard, it wasn't too bad, thankfully.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's always a bummer when a hurricane comes and just destroys all your plans and your like your house, and I don't know, it just ruins
Yeah, right.
everything. So yeah, I'm glad nothing too serious happened. Whenever a hurricane would happen or like I would get news of it, it would just bring me down so much. So like, I'm
I
kind of glad I
know.
don't have to deal with them anymore. But of course, there's the whole possibility of this place burning up because we have wildfires going on once again. So
Oh gosh,
I think
yeah.
I don't know if I'd rather have wildfires or hurricanes. I'd probably rather have a hurricane actually. But
I started calling my grandma like every couple of weeks, to check in on her. I just chat with her like Friday afternoons, just to see how she's doing back in Brazil. So she was asking, I think, about the hurricane, and I think the media down there paints the hurricanes as tornadoes. So they
mhm,
think that it's like way more dangerous. I mean, not that the hurricanes are not, you can have like flooding and all sorts of
yeah,
other issues, but I was like, it's not as, I think, at least the one that we got is not nearly as destructive as a tornado. But
hmm,
she's like, oh no, I always get so concerned. I was like, yeah, because that's the sensationalist media that you that you have down there. Not
hmm.
that we don't either, but yeah, I was like, no, it wasn't that bad.
But on that note, do we want to get into today's topic?
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
what are we talking about today?
We're talking about Node.js.
Node.js. So Node.js, if you are unaware, it's one of these things that it's kind of hard to just explain to anybody, but we're gonna do our absolute best to put it out into like the simplest terms as possible. Because I remember when I was learning it, I think I watched one of like the Mosh videos.
Hmm.
I forgot his full name, but like I think it's just Mosh. Does a lot of web development videos and whatnot. But yeah, I was in the boot camp. I was at some coffee shop before, just like getting ready to learn about Node, even though I had no idea what it was or anything.
Yeah.
And I think I watched the first 2 minutes of this intro video like 20 times. I was like, what is he saying right now? Is it JavaScript? Is it its own language? Is it like front end? Is it back end? Do you
Hmm.
have to download it? I was just like, no idea. So then, after the repetition of watching this Mosh video, I like kind of remembered the words that he was saying.
Yeah.
I probably didn't fully conceptualize it. So when I pulled up to class, our instructor was like, "All right, we're talking about Node. Who wants to take a jab at what it is?" Because like I don't know, I don't think in the boot camp you were really expected to prep before like ahead of schedule. You're just kind of like you do your assignments, then you show up the next day and like learn a new
Yeah.
thing. It wasn't like
Hmm.
totally expected, but obviously it helped. So it
Yeah.
just so happened that I had time to prep before. So That's not usually how I was as a student. I was usually pretty bad. But yeah, I remember he was like, "Who wants to try to explain this?" Of course, nobody raised their hand because it wasn't expected. I was like, "I'll go for it," because I remembered this guy explaining it. So I like just word for word said what he said, and he was like, "That's exactly it." So like everybody thought I was super smart for like 2 minutes. And then as class progressed, I was the one asking more questions because I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we even go into it, what was your experience with Node in the boot camp? Or did you guys not? I'm sure you guys learned it. It's been around since
Yeah,
like
yeah,
'09.
yeah. I think since it's been out for so long and being like a very widely used server side platform, it was very much a part of our curriculum. I think like halfway through, I don't know, it was probably shortly right after we started getting into JavaScript that, we looked into Node.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I think I had the same questions as like what is it? Is it front end? Is it back end? Like what is it? Is it a framework? Is it a platform or is it a library? So I was pretty confused, but I mean, it's like part of like I think was it our last episode that we talked about stacks and
Mhm.
Node is always present there regardless of
Mhm.
what you choose as a front end framework, React or Vue or Angular or whatever. Node is definitely in the mix. But yeah, we used it at the bootcamp for sure. I think we had a few projects that were around it, so it was good,
Yeah.
practice using it.
Yeah, it quickly turned into one of my favorite things in the realm of JavaScript.
Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
loved it, and I still love it to this day. I just don't use it as much with what I'm doing at work. But
Right.
I would like to, get back into it and do something as a personal project. But
Right.
all that aside, let me try to put it into dummy terms. So I'm gonna say a word that might not make sense, but just roll with it. So basically, Node.js, it's what we would call a runtime
Mhm.
that allows you to just execute JavaScript code on a server. And most servers are written in something like Java or in PHP. So when this first came around, this was pretty revolutionary just because it meant that, everyday developers such as, you, I, the listener, whoever, it meant that we could just code a full stack app in just one language, JavaScript. We don't have
Mhm.
to go to like Java or PHP anymore. I mean, you can, of course, but Node allowed us the possibility to just only have to use JavaScript for your full
Right.
stack app. So, in case that didn't really blow your mind, let me kind of paint a picture for you. So, if you're a client visiting any URL, let's just a URL, that URL points to some server somewhere in the world, and when the request is received, I as a developer can use Node to actually handle that request and read a file from the server and then finally respond back to you, the client, so that you can actually view the file. So if it's like an HTML file, you can view it in the browser. And like I said before Node, this would require me using another language. So if you're an old fart using 3 different languages to handle something like that, get with the times, man, and hop on Node.js because you got to use it. It's really awesome. Another important thing to note too that also kind of made it really cool is that it's asynchronous. So that sounds like a really big word, but um, with asynchronous, it just means that it can perform multiple tasks at once. I hope I'm getting that right, and I know you're way smarter in that world.
No, no, I think you're definitely on it. Yeah.
Yeah, so like with asynchronous, it's way more efficient. It can just do more tasks at once instead of this classic queue system where you have to do like the where the system executes one task, finishes it, does the next one, does the next one, finishes it. It can just divvy them all up and then like figure out how to do them all asynchronously. So
Right.
Yeah, use that word next time you're talking to somebody.
They'll definitely be like, "Oh, you're a developer."
Yep, exactly.
Use recursion and is asynchronous, so you're set.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Um, yeah, so I hope that's getting across. I think it'll kind of go into this realm of your brain of understanding very soon. I know like that whole bit at the beginning is kind of crazy to conceptualize, but basically just to take away from that, I think what you should take away from that is that um, it just allows us as developers to do more heavy back-endy sort of stuff with just JavaScript, which we're already probably utilizing for other things like the front end and animation and all sorts of logic that the app depends on. So yeah, really just change the game. You don't. It's honestly like it can be less hassle. That's kind of the goal, and
Yeah.
it's supposed to be more efficient. But yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to open up with. Did you have anything else to add on to that, Anna?
No, I think you summed it up pretty nicely. It's something that I think because we both come from like a boot camp, background, it was very much integrated because it was full stack. So obviously, when you're touching full stack, you're definitely going to hear about Node and you're going to, be expected to use it to some extent. But yeah, it's something that, it just facilitates life a lot, like when you're working with JavaScript and the web. So, just keep it in your back pocket, like a very powerful tool. So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it's really marketable too. It's like
Hmm.
I always see it on, I mean, not anymore, but like on job listings and whatnot. It's like if you're a full stack developer, they're asking for one. That's usually in the description. So it's
Yes.
pretty
Yeah,
cool
absolutely.
if you can at least get the basics down with it. And
Hmm.
it's not like you're really learning. You're just learning the concept behind Node. Really, I think when you're learning it, and
Yeah.
then like a few important what would be the word, like terms, I guess we could say, because it's
Hmm.
all JavaScript at the end of the day still. So you're not
Exactly.
really stressing and learning a whole new language. So
Right. Yeah, if
but
you're starting with your, HTML, CSS, and then JavaScript, I think
mhm.
it's just the like natural to take, the next step to Node. So
Took the words right out of my mouth. Perfect.
awesome.
So getting started with Node, um, it's not too hard. It's not something that like you have to download this huge environment thing, and it's it's all totally integrated into whatever you're comfortable using anyway.
Hmm.
So it is something you do install, and you actually might already have it on your machine, and you might not even know it.
Yeah.
So if you did want to check, you could do the usual package name or software or whatever, flag v or dash v in the terminal. So you could just do node dash v, and if it returns, like I don't know what the version, like 12.6 point whatever in the
Yeah.
terminal, then you have it, and that's it. But if
Exactly.
you get an error or nothing happens, then no sweat. All you got to do is download it from the internet. You just go to nodejs.org, I think, or node.org, and you just download the latest version. And it's really that simple. And then
Yeah. Exactly.
what you really should do after that, naturally, is download a Node version manager called NVM from the internet as well, and that will allow you to install any version at any time or run it. So, like, let's say you're doing some project and you've tried everything in the book to fix this bug, and you're like, what the heck is going on? I've tried literally everything. The last thing I'm gonna try is just a different version of Node to see what happens. So, like, you can just run an older version, a newer version, in case something that you came across on Stack Overflow was what solved your initial problem, but then it created more bugs. So maybe the thing that you found online that fixed your problem was from a different version of Node. So it's always handy to, play with different versions of Node as well. Um, yeah, it's handy for testing. So yeah, just what is it? Node install. No, you would just. I think NVM is totally separate. You'd just install NVM from the internet. So
I don't know if I've ever done that. I think I just recently in my work computer, I had to install Node in NPM. But I
Yep.
didn't do the other one. I wonder, I should probably look into that because like you said, when you have like conflicting versions, that's something that happens all the time,
Yeah.
especially because obviously this is a very well maintained platform, so they're constantly releasing updates, so it's good to stay up with with the latest updates and things like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll definitely look into that because I don't think I've ever done it.
Check it out. NVM.
Mm-hmm.
So, with writing and executing Node, I don't want to say Node code as tempting as it is because they rhyme, but it's still just JavaScript. But anyway, so with Node, and unlike plain old JavaScript, you can write it all in the terminal and just execute it to see what the terminal spits out.
Yeah.
You might want to do this with like your first little hello world line of code or whatever. But once you've gotten to the point where you're done messing around and you want to put on your like programmer pants, I guess, you can create your index.js file or whatever you call your main JavaScript file and write your code in there and just treat it like plain old JavaScript. You can do a console.log hello world, but you can actually execute the code and run it so that when you have your like integrated terminal in Visual Studio Code, for instance, it'll actually return the hello world in the terminal. Whereas if you're just doing plain old JavaScript, I think the only other way of seeing that result would be to open the browser.
Yeah.
Or I have seen a plugin that treats JavaScript like it's Node, but it's not Node.
Okay.
Done it. I've used it like in old, like when I was doing interviews and they would like watch my screen. I would kind of impress them and be like, oh, like I have this little plugin that'll run the code so we don't have to open the browser. And they'd be like, oh, perfect. So you can always look into that as well if you're not ready for Node. But anyway, the whole point I'm getting at is that you don't really need to go into the browser to write your JavaScript code. It's just all in the terminal when you run it. So it's really cool. It feels like a Java or a C sort of thing. So
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think the concept of being able to start like a local server was the one thing that kind of blew my mind. Like when I touched on it during the boot camp, because up to that point, it was like you said, like you saved your .html file in your app.js or whatever you called it, like in the same directory, and then you would run your HTML file on the browser. Yeah, like so from that to creating your local server, that's so much better. So yeah, this is definitely a very handy thing.
yeah, just touching the realm of servers with JavaScript it's still crazy to me that
Yeah.
that's a thing. But it's obviously really convenient and awesome at the same time. But another crazy important thing with Node is the infamous NPM,
Ooh.
which it's Node Package Manager. And from what I understand, I think GitHub owns NPM or started NPM, something along those
Oh, I
lines.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we can't really cover NPM without first quickly covering what modules are in general. So in case you don't know, modules are just JavaScript files that export their code. So a couple examples of Node's built-in modules include FS, which is just something that handles the file system, and events, which are just used to handle simple events like exit, for example. It's like the simplest one I can think of. And this kind of is inspired by the whole idea of importing modules in like something like C++ or Java or anything like that. You like start your file, I believe, with like you're importing your things in Python as well.
Yeah. Right.
Like NumPy, import NumPy up here, and then you're going to utilize it somewhere in your code. So it's sort of like that. And the easiest way to utilize these modules is to just use the require function, which is literally just the word require. So usually you'd set this equal to some sort of variable that you find easy to remember or just easy to use, and it's clear what it's going to do. So you set it to that variable when you want to use the module later in your code. And at some point in your little developer life, you will come to a point where you can say to yourself, "Ugh, I don't want to see a module that Node ships with that will help me right now. I definitely don't want to waste my time on making one from scratch either. So what do I do?" So in this case, you could actually use somebody else's code for free and totally legally, because it's under free licensing or whatever that somebody put it up. You can use somebody else's code, and the absolute best place to do this is NPM, where I think it's just npmjs.com, and stands for Node Package Manager, as I mentioned before, and it actually ships with Node when you install it, so you don't even have to go to the website to download packages, but you can always go on there and just do a search of what you're looking for. So let's say you already know the package you need for your project. Somebody said, "Oh, just do this package. It'll work wonders for what you're doing." So you just do npm init flag y to get things initialized for your project to handle packages and whatnot. In short, this kind of creates this package.json file that just shows you, your dependencies, and this is important just so when somebody else wants to run your code, they don't have to also download all these packages and modules. You'll just be able to run it on any machine at this point. So that's really all it means. Don't think too deep about package.json. But after you've initialized your program to actually handle modules, now all you have to do is just do npm install package name.
Yep.
And I think Anna can name the most popular, I don't know if it's the most popular package, but the one that is probably the most important to cover right now. Do you know what I'm talking about, Anna?
It's NPM install Express, maybe?
That's the one. Oh, let me get my little... Yeah. Express. Oh, did you want to bring up anything else about NPM before I move on?
Yeah, before we get into Express, I wanted to let you know I actually recently made my first NPM package.
Shut up.
No, yeah, I did it. Well, actually, it was a group effort, because one of the projects that I'm working on for my Python class, we have to create a project and package it up to publish it with PyPI, where, it's where all of the NPM packages are hosted. So it's not as complicated as you think, because obviously the legwork was done, alongside my team with the actual code to make, the project. And then essentially it's kind of like in parallel, like you said, with having a package.json. Obviously we're working with Python, but the setup is a little differently. It's just that we have a setup.py file that you have to fill out with all the requirements, like the entry points for your application. Because essentially what we're doing is you do npm install the package name, and then we want to use a single, our package name as the command to actually launch the window where we have our app running, So everything was built with a GUI, a Python GUI interface, and then a C library on the back end. So, obviously there are a lot of layers to it, but it's as simple as that when you need to install it. So it was very cool to learn how to do that and how it's not that complicated at all. I mean, as a first pass, it took a while, a lot of Googling to understand how to publish the package. But once you get the hang of it, it's like, oh, wow, you really can publish anything, it's super, super easy.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's very neat.
I've never even made my own module, let alone published one to NPM. That's so awesome.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. I found, some very good videos on YouTube that helped. Obviously just going off of tutorials, And then yeah, we like submitted. We're still waiting on our grade, but fingers crossed that it was like it's pretty good. We got it to run like when we were testing it, so now just waiting on that. But I mean, the experience alone was very cool because I like you said, Express, for instance, is like such a widely used, package. So like I always thought that it was the most complicated thing to get one of those things up online, but
Mhm.
it's really not. So obviously I know that they have a lot of other things, to build the package itself and the functionality. That's where it's really difficult, but to actually publish it, it's not that hard. So yeah, very cool.
That is very cool. I was about to just like, all right, let's go on to Express.js. Like, let's keep it rolling. Like, oh, I actually published one. So
We
sick.
have two published for our project, but it's I did one, and the one of our other
Ooh.
buddies did the second one. Sorry.
Wow, that's
Cool
amazing.
stuff.
Wow, I didn't know I had such a cool friend. I'm gonna tell everybody.
Do
Um,
it.
so yeah, with Express.js, it's a web app framework, and it's one of the most popular Node modules out there. I don't know if it's the most popular, but it is definitely one of the most popular
Mhm.
out there because it's so minimal and easy to get going. And all you need to do to start using it is to require it, kind of like how I mentioned how to do before. And it's really that simple for getting it going. But what makes it actually so special is that it allows us to create URLs and endpoints that the user can navigate to in the browser, which we've done a little bit on in previous episodes for sure. But let's see. Okay, so like remember like get requests and all that stuff that we did in an older episode. Well, this is like where you would utilize them, and it allows the user to get, let's say, an HTML file from the server and load it in their browser without making any modifications to it. So, yeah, just another prime example of this request response cycle. Yeah, it's really easy, like I said before. But yeah, the really big takeaway from it is that you can create these requests like get, put, post, all that jazz, I guess we could say.
Yeah, no, this one is famous for a reason, because obviously you're talking about a like a server side platform. And if you're working on the web, you're making web requests, so
Mhm.
this one is very famous because it's pretty essential. But yeah, it's another one where they keep maintaining it. So
Yeah.
you're always like assured that it's gonna work, that
Yeah.
it's reliable, and a lot of other people use it too. So it's not really going anywhere.
hmm Yeah, it works in tandem with like HTTP. So if
Hmm.
you're starting to get familiar with that concept and you want to move on to Node, this like might be the first thing you would want to do as far as downloading a package goes and getting it started is Express. I mean, that was our first one, I think, in the boot camp. And then maybe another one we did after. I forget what it's called, but it was some package that allowed you to kind of like ask the user questions. I don't know if that even makes sense, but it was like getting
Hmm.
information from the user with questions, and then like the package allowed
Um,
you to not really have to stress about writing code that would take in input from the user and then
yeah.
store it for later. I don't remember what it was called, or if like I don't know. I should have
Yeah, I don't
probably.
remember that one either. Express. I think we used Express. We used handlebars.
Hmm
Those are two that I definitely remember right now, but then I don't remember much of the rest.
I did not like handlebars.
No, I didn't either. I know that we had a project using, like, we had a little Twitter, Spotify,
Hmm
and something else like app. It was definitely a Node app. And I think it was like it was I'm pretty sure that we had to use requests because we were pulling like tweets and songs from like those APIs,
hmm
So yeah, I mean, Express was definitely used, but yeah, Express and handlebars are the ones that stand out to me because I mean, I don't really use Node that much, but yeah, I mean, you might be able to think of more for sure than I
Mhm,
did.
sure. Well, anyway, let's talk about deploying code, which I think we've done a few times anyway, but this will kind
Mhm.
of tie it all together, I think. So now that you're ready to get your project developed and deployed, but you quickly realize that you don't have a server just lying around the house, uh, you can easily just utilize something like Google Cloud, which Anna is the master at from what she tells me. Um, but from what I understand, how it works is that a service like Google Cloud will just look inside that package.json file that we talked about
Mhm.
earlier
Mhm.
for some sort of start script that tells it to just run Node in the current working directory of the project. And then
Yeah.
you just run apt deploy or something like that in the terminal. And just like that, your app will be available for anyone to access if they have the URL. In the boot camp, we used Firebase, but I'm sure I'm sure Google Cloud is more popular now. I don't really, I totally stopped using Firebase, but
You
yeah.
know, I actually just had to work with Firebase for, I think I had to create like a service account
Mm,
using our Google Cloud. So, for like a service account, essentially it's like you're giving that account all of the permissions to access the APIs that you enable for it, so you can like pull and so you can like get, put, update, delete, all that jazz. And so that was like I had to get, I don't know, I had to like enable something, like briefly worked with it the other day, but it had been so long since I last touched it. Now with Google Cloud, I know there was a project that I finished up like a couple months ago that we just deployed a virtual machine, like a Linux. It was a lamp,
mm,
Linux, Adobe, what is it? Linux,
Apache? I don't,
Adobe.
wait,
Oh no,
Adobe?
yeah, a Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. Yeah, that's what
Hmm.
LAMP stands for. And yeah, we just uploaded our HTML and JS files and CSS and that stuff.
Hmm.
So it wasn't. We didn't use Node, but I would be interested to see how it, how that would work. I think though for the past several years, like the industry is definitely taking the containerization route where you use like Docker,
Hmm.
or what's the other really big one? Oh my gosh, Docker, and there is another one that I feel like
Hmm.
I see all the time. It's a funny name.
Yeah. Oh god.
Damn it. I think we'll think of it. But yeah, I think that like for for a Node app, maybe that would be something interesting to explore. Not that I probably couldn't have done it with a lamp, but I just feel like lamp was really old school.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely like to try with a Docker. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Well, on the lamp topic, I remember a few weeks ago I watched this tech lead video
Mhm.
on YouTube, and I don't know, you've probably seen a couple of his videos, right? Tech lead?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like super sarcastic and like kind of a dick, but it's all,
Yeah.
for comedic purposes, of course.
Yeah.
Um, there was a video where he was like recreating Instagram, I think, something like that, and he showed him just coding away, and I'm pretty sure he was using LAMP, but it was so crazy because he wasn't even using VS Code, which crazy enough. He wasn't even using Vim, which
Oh
is
wow.
like even harder. He was just using straight up terminal. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
He coded in the terminal, everything.
Really?
Yeah, he had like 17 terminal windows open. He was just like, so now I'm going to do this, and then blah, 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 and then like just
Yeah.
running it straight up in the terminal and getting it all set up like so quickly and easy. I was like, damn, that is so baller.
Yeah, I've done there were a couple of times that I had to do things using Nano. I don't know if you've done like if you do Nano and then the file name, it's gonna be pretty like there's no indent like there's nothing that really helps you like
Yeah.
autocomplete and auto indentation, nothing like that. So you have to, it's essentially just like a regular text editor.
Hmm.
For minor changes, it's okay. Like if you're just want to do it on the fly instead of like,
Yeah.
getting your code editor, your IDE up and everything. But yeah, I'm really impressed by the guys that are still like just grinding code on like terminal windows. But I mean, I feel like they're just like it's a true testament to their ability
Shout out
because if you
Windows.
really don't need what is that?
My shirt.
Hands-on.
Windows shirt.
Oh my God, Windows 2.
Windows 2000 baby stand up.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, I
hilarious.
thrifted it the other day. I just wanted to wear it for you, Anna.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah, it just like that guy has tons of experience and he's probably so used to it that
mhm.
it doesn't even fade him, like he's just like his natural environment, I guess.
He probably scoffs at people who have like themes for their VS Code and like,
Yep.
yeah, just so funny. And I heard that this seems like almost like we're talking about a legend, but I heard that he will just be somewhere. And
Hmm.
obviously, if he doesn't have his laptop and like there's some big change he has to do, he would just like deploy his edits on his phone.
Oh wow.
He would like do the changes on his phone and then just like not even test it, nothing, just like send it. He's like, I don't make mistakes. So crazy.
Yeah, that guy's quite a character.
Yeah. But back to Google Cloud.
Hmm.
Yeah, so once you get it deployed, you can pat yourself on the back because you've done a lot of work, I'm sure. But yeah, I remember when I first like made the connection from like my little app that I was building in the boot camp to Firebase. I guess we were using Firebase at the time,
Uh-huh.
and made it so that like anybody in the room could just, well, anybody in the world technically, but nobody knew about it, obviously. So like anybody in the room could just go to it. Was just like so crazy. I think that's what really drew me into it was like just the ease of getting your stuff live for other people to see. I just thought it was amazing. But yeah, when you get your code deployed, you can look at yourself in the mirror really intensely and whisper like, "I'm a full stack cloud architect now," and then just like collapse to the floor because you've done so much work. Because I felt like I ran a marathon the first time I, got something up and running like that because it was just so much for my little brain. But it's a really cool feeling. This isn't my recommendation for the episode, but I do really really recommend that for everyone interested in this stuff for you to at least go out and try Node or Dynamo or what is it called? Dynamo. What's the competitor now?
For
For against Node, it's like a new, not new, but it's oh my god.
Oh, I think I heard about I'm not sure. That's a good question.
I would like you to crunch those numbers again.
It's a program. There's no such thing as
Just crunch them.
Crunch, crunch,
Just crunch them, please.
crunch.
I
Well, I
love that.
can't crunch any numbers because my keyboard's not working. Oh well. Anyway, that's enough Node. I think let's jump into our little recommendations. I would like you to go. No, I'll go first because I know mine sucks. So this week I was getting really annoyed at my dongle, just like being in the way when I'm not at my desk because I don't use a dongle at my desk. I have a little docking station. But anyway, so like when I'm just using my laptop outside or whatever, I want my dongle to like not be in view of just my workspace because it just gets in the way. So I was at Target looking for like anything to help, and I found these command Velcro strips.
Ooh.
I just slapped one on my laptop on the back and then put the other half on the dongle, and it just sits on the back of my laptop, and it looks pretty ill.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny you said that because I have this I think I told you like months ago when I bought this 1 terabyte SanDisk tiny
Hmm.
thing, but look at how long this thing
Yeah,
is. I hate
exactly.
it.
Hmm.
So I was telling Sam, I was like, I've seen it so many times where you get like you stick a Velcro, thing, adhesive thing to this and then to the back of your computer. So it just runs to the back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what I want to do. But
Do it.
I think I'm also going to beg one of my managers to give me a dock for home.
Get a dock.
Cause he offered like a while back and I was like, no, I don't think I need it. But I think after I move, I definitely want to like reorganize my whole office setup,
Mm-hmm.
and take advantage of my desk space, put some shelves up and hide more of the cables that I currently see.
Yeah, definitely.
So I have to do something. I'm just getting a little
Mm-hmm.
uh tired of my current
I'm
condition here.
Yeah, that's like the classic
It
mindset. Like
is.
as soon as you're done getting it ready, you're like, man, I'm already tired of this. I want to do something else. But yeah, the Velcro strip, I haven't used it for too many other things, but the one other main thing I wanted to fix was our like I have a fob to open the garage door for the building because we have like we
Mhm.
park under the building, and you have a little fob button to open the door. But if you lose that thing, you're done. Like you can't get in the building. You have to, go inside and buy a new one, I guess. But
Yeah.
and I'm gonna lose it under the seat. It's gonna fly out the window for some other reason. My dog's gonna eat it. Anything like that could have happened. So I stuck one of the Velcro things like kind of under the push to start button. So like it's always just stuck to the car.
Yeah.
Take it off if I need somebody else to use it or whatever. So yeah, super super handy. You can use it for whatever you want.
Mhm.
Yeah, shout out command.
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, my recommendation, like I said, is more of like raising a red flag kind of. I don't know. I just wanted to
Mm.
like bring attention to this. Yeah. So I heard about GitHub Copilot just
Hmm.
recently and also on LinkedIn. It was, like scrolling through my feed. So it was interesting to see it in action when I watched a YouTube video because it literally auto completes a whole function for you depending on what you name it. Like if it's fizz buzz because it's such a popular one, like it just auto completes the whole thing. And I was like, what's the fun in that? Like you
Mm.
need to struggle and like figure that out. Maybe if you're very like seasoned and you're just like, sure, whatever. But I was like, I don't think I like that so much, it really cuts a lot of corners. And I'm like, well, that just means that someone is doing your work for you instead of you trying to figure out the best way that you understand, that the code would reflect like your thought process.
Sure.
Um, so I don't know. I just wanted to point that out. I didn't really have anything else to recommend other than this that I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't want to use it because I feel like it's a cop out.
Ugh.
I mean, I guess like it can be seen like from another perspective though, it can be seen as like a guide for you to understand how you could approach such a problem. But I don't know. Have you seen it like in
Yeah.
action or like any info about it?
I've seen very little about it, but when you first brought it up, I thought you were gonna be like, yeah, so I was skeptical at first, but now I only use it.
No. Mm-mm. I mean, we've all been, I think, we've all been like, or we've all had those moments that were like, crap, like, how do I even solve this problem? That's programming for you. Like, you choose that as a career path, you're gonna struggle. It's a daily thing.
Yeah.
But I would feel like such a cheat if all I did was doing autocomplete on my code,
Yeah.
like after years in school, boot camp, practicing, and like constantly learning, like to just do a tab and it auto completes for you. Like I will
Yeah.
probably only use that on the terminal, like when I'm trying to open a file or something.
I agree, but I can also see the other side with that because, like, you can picture a Vim guy being like, "Oh, like screw you, you're using, VS Code, and
Yeah,
that thing half the time auto completes, the name of what you're typing anyway. Like,
right.
that's you're not learning anything." Or like you can even picture like back when we were in school when like people are like you're not gonna have calculators out in the real world, like just always do it old school, and then like sure enough everybody uses calculators obviously.
Right.
So I don't know, it's really, I think it's just one of those things like it might be more prevalent throughout other software as well, where we won't have to type as much and save more time. I don't know. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
that.
But I mean, I totally see like it might not do more good than, bad, because,
Mhm.
if you are somebody who's not as seasoned and they're just doing it without really knowing what's going on and it's doing it
Yeah.
for them, like, yeah, that
Mhm.
definitely takes away something for sure.
Yeah, because I feel like, not to bring like a boomer perspective into the conversation,
Right.
like obviously we're younger, we know that things evolve, but I think that yes, technology is supposed to like facilitate the process and everything, but when it eliminates like the creative process, the actual like translation of a thought process into the code, then I mean, what's like I don't know. I feel like it's cheating,
Hmm.
to like an extent. I don't know also like to what capacity it works, like if it like depending on, let's say, you already have like a established file and then you want to create like another helper function all the way at the bottom to maybe simplify the code that you already have, like will it do that, or does it only do like boilerplate functions like fizzbuzz, or like iterating through like a binary search tree, like tree, things like that. I'm not really sure. I didn't look that much into it. It was just like a first impression. So maybe I need some more information, but yeah, I thought that it was kind of interesting because I know that we talked about Webflow not too long ago, like in
Hmm.
one of our episodes, and I feel like
Yeah.
it's similar to that because it's like
Yeah.
drag and drop, so
Yeah. I mean, it's also um, kind of like, what are they called? Like Squarespace or, and like, on a certain level, sort of like WordPress, depending on how you use it. It's all sort of drag and droppy anyway. But yeah, I guess Webflow is just another one of those guys where you don't need to be super technically aware of how websites work to actually get one going. So, I'm glad they're out there. But
yeah, I
did we
think
need another one though? Like, come on. There's already so many.
yeah. I think the I think on the upside, it does eliminate it does eliminate the barrier for entry, which I think is a very good thing, because with everything that we're going through like as a society right now, getting people to learn valuable skills, giving them the chance to like excel at a career, in tech, like in STEM, you really can do that, if you like if you devote yourself, if you learn the skills, like you really can make something out of your career. So I think in looking from that way, I think it's very interesting how we are able to do so much more than we were even 10 years ago, in software engineering and development and all of that. So I think, making that barrier for entry like a bit easier for people that want to start, because I know that you still get like there's a lot of intimidation with this field. I tell people all the time, like, I mean, I've gotten some interesting looks when I said that I was, getting a degree for computer science. And I was like, yeah, it's very difficult, but so is everything else that's really worth it. I'm definitely not the smartest person by any means. I think that I just really I want to, to make something out of myself. But it's very intimidating in the sense that I don't know, like, people think that we're hackers. We're not. We're Googling half the time, like you're just a problem solver. But I think for those that are interested in, getting started, I think that this is a good tool that can kind of like teach them the way, or like how to think,
Hmm.
because I still struggle with algorithms. It's very like it can be very complicated. So, I think yeah, there's definitely like, pros and cons. I don't know, I guess a developer who's confident in their skills, they're probably going to be like, no, I don't need this tool, like
Yeah.
I'll just do it myself. Like I know what to do.
Yeah.
Or
That,
I know
that
where to
sentence.
look to kind of like, finish the job instead of like just having an autocomplete function. So
Hmm. Yeah, that sentence. I still struggle with algorithms. It's just funny because that's still like for so many people it's like that's so abstracted, like, well, okay, like you're struggling with abstract or with algorithms, well, like I'm still struggling with string theory. Like,
yeah.
it's just like it just I don't know, it's funny because like even using the word algorithm, people are like, oh, whoa, 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 take it easy, man.
Yeah, no, it's definitely challenging, like 100% of the time. But it's really about how much you want it, like I think it's a very admirable, career path because it's made perhaps not as as respected or like as glamorous as a doctor or engineer or attorney or whatever, but if you think about how much like a software engineer like has of an effect, like the code, like I mean everything that we do nowadays relies on programming. So it's very much like it's the like you're essentially building the digital infrastructure of everyday life, So it's like
Wow.
yeah, it's I mean that's the way I see it honestly, because we rely on every like on all of these, technologies and devices and everything. So it's I think very important to have that recognition, and it's not by taking the easy path. I mean, there really isn't. I think you can like cheat in the beginning, but eventually, like if you want to go for an interview and they're like, okay, here's a notepad, app, go ahead and code the solution to this problem. You're not gonna have Copilot then. So if you don't
Mm-mm.
know it, you're just,
Exactly.
it's an immediate no. So it's all about choices too, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm still gonna probably check it out just because I'm curious as to
Yeah,
how much
definitely.
of an aid it is when you're trying to do FizzBuzz, for instance. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll probably go check it out later today, actually.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth, taking a peek just to see what's all about. Because I think when I saw the video on YouTube, it was just a VS Code extension that you install and then you can get it running, and it gives you
Oh,
like if you type like fizzbuzz, it will give you a gazillion options of how to structure the function, and then you get to pick
hmm,
which one you want.
oh, so cool.
So yeah, yeah, that's AI life for you.
Hmm. All right.
Artificial intelligence.
So yeah, with that kind of being said, I'm still still trying to get my website back up.
Oh yeah, what happened to that?
I think it is somewhat related to the contact form that I had on my site. It got flagged by my domain name provider
Okay.
as spam, like a spam site,
Uh-huh.
because I was getting
Yeah.
so much. Not that real people were contacting me. That's never the case. Just so many like stupid little spam bots just sending so many forms to my email and like I think I'll just say the name. I think GoDaddy really just like missed the bar and thought that I was a spam site. So they like when I went and logged into GoDaddy, it said I didn't own my domain name anymore.
No way.
Yeah, so I talked to somebody on chat and I explained the whole situation. I'm like, hey, I'm just a wee humble developer. I made this thing, like, I'm not trying to spam anybody. It's literally a portfolio site. Who can I talk to like get my domain name back? And it literally says in the chat like Victor Dubeld, and they're like, okay, well, what's the domain name? And I was like, victordubeld.com. They're like, okay, we believe you.
Yeah,
So
right.
I got connected with somebody via email, and they were like, oh, just like do something about that contact form, and then we'll get you back up and running. So I just have to figure out how to do that. I don't know. I might just get rid of it because nobody
Mm-hmm.
even hits me up on there anyway. Sad face.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the latest development on my website. It's been weird because I haven't been pushing the podcast via my website. I had to just do the old school like Instagram, Twitter, all that
Hmm.
stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm not getting my weekly GitHub Square.
Oh. I've been programming. I have a little recurring reminder on my Google Calendar, like commit to GitHub today. I think it's every weekday or every day, but it's yeah, it's my some little green squares on. I mean, I definitely have work to do. I just every now and then I take a bit of a break, because
As you should.
going like to being in front of a screen 15 hours a day is like sometimes it's too much.
Oh God, yeah. The my eyes just are dead at the end of most
Yeah.
days for sure.
I've been having trouble sleeping too.
Uh,
I don't know, like if it's the, like the heat, even though it's cool in
mm,
the house, I think it's just like a lot of exposure to light constantly, blue
mhm.
light from the devices too. But yeah, that's, occupational hazard part of it, but it's all good.
Well, with our jobs, we're not particularly known for going outside too often. So any like overexposure to sun, at least for me, just depletes me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I take the dog out and then I'm immediately like, let's go back in, Augie, because we're popsicles out here melting.
I'm like the albino kid from Benchwarmers. Was it Benchwarmers? Yeah, that baseball
Oh, okay.
movie
Yeah, yeah.
where like he goes
I've heard
outside.
of
He's
it.
like, that's me
Yeah.
every day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh, have you been watching anything cool? I just started watching Ted Lasso.
Oh, I haven't. No, I've heard of that, but what was I? I started rewatching Suits just
Oh,
for kicks the other day. I
on
haven't
what? What's it
finished
on?
it's on Prime.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, it's included on Prime if you have it. And
Mm,
then I definitely want to eventually I'm gonna rewatch Silicon Valley from the beginning
mm.
because I love that show.
Yeah, I started
Um
rewatching it and then I just forgot because we moved. But yeah, always a
yeah,
good show.
I know. I've been trying to like switch gears and read like a little bit more than watching TV on my spare time. But damn, like that phone is just so addictive. So,
Yeah,
or TV, oh my gosh. If I could get those hours back, I definitely would get like years, I think by now.
hmm,
But yeah, well, I think it's fine for the time being. I have to figure out when I really feel like reading a book and just go
yeah,
for it. Maybe before bed, so it kind of helps with sleep because I've heard that's good. It kind of calms the brain down instead of having my phone on the bed and then
yeah,
having trouble sleeping. But yeah,
yeah. Reading will put you right to sleep.
yeah.
I'm waiting for this book to get back in stock at our bookstore downstairs, Powell's, called Chaos by Tom O'Neill. You've probably heard about it. It's like about
I think
Charles
that sounds
Manson.
really familiar. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like all about MK Ultra, Charles Manson, that the
Oh,
whole like late '60s craziness.
ah,
Um, yeah, I heard about it from this like internet radio show that I listened to, and then
yeah.
I heard about it again from when Quentin Tarantino was on Joe Rogan, and then it
Uh-huh.
turns out that the author did a whole Joe Rogan episode too. So now I'm like, man, I have to read this book. It's just so good, but it's been out of stock at our bookstore, and
Oh, damn.
yeah, it was funny because I went in and I was in the children's section, not looking for the book, but I was just looking for anybody to help me. So like I was at the help desk in the children's section, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Hi, I don't know if this is appropriate, but I have a book that I need help finding, but it's not it's not a kid book. Can I like ask about it here?" She's like, "Oh, please go ahead." But I just felt it was just so funny, like asking for a Charles Manson book in like the 6-year-old section. But
That's
then like, I was trying to
hilarious.
be a little quiet, but the lady's like, "Oh my God, that's the best Manson book I've ever read!" Like being like so like loud,
Yeah,
and like obviously little kids don't really know about it usually, but I don't know, just the idea was humorous to me.
that's hilarious.
Yeah. But
Awesome.
yeah, I hope I can get that soon because that's the only thing I've like really wanted to read recently.
Yeah.
I can't get through Dune. I'm sorry, guys. I just can't. I'm not in the mood. I want to just watch the movie.
Same. Yeah. It comes out soon, I think.
Yeah. Well, I got nothing else for the show. I don't even have news. I think we covered plenty. So,
Yeah. Same here.
all right.
We'll be back for the next one.
We'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks for listening if you made it this far, and Tech Heads out.
Peace.
Peace.